Hello students, we have already started chapter 3 of history, anti-British uprising and peasant movement of Assam. Some causes I have explained, causes for which anti-British uprising took place. That means the peasants of India, peasants of Assam, they stood against the British. So anti-British feeling grew in the minds of the people of Assam. So few points I have explained, but in between some students they send me message that regarding the parliamentary form of government, that from economics, civic, that political science and economics, from there one question I told you all to write from class 9 book, isn't it? So some students they have send me the message saying that they don't have class 9 book, so they want the answers. So today I thought I'll give you these answers first and then only I'll explain. Okay. So characteristics of parliamentary form of government. Those who have those who could not write it, those who don't have the class 9 book, you can write down. The question number you see, question number, book I don't have, only class 9 book I have in front of me. So I'll tell you the answer. So question number you see from your textbook, civics. And the question is, write the characteristics of parliamentary form of government. So answer point number 1. Point number 1, you write, there are two heads. There are two heads, H-E-A-D-S, heads in the parliamentary form of government. There are two heads in the parliamentary form of government. After full stop, one is nominal head. One is nominal head, and other one is the executive head. One is the nominal head and other one is the executive head. This is whole thing is point number 1. And then second point, the members of the executive, the members of the executive are also the members of the legislature. The members of the executive are also the member of the legislature. This is point number 2. Then point number 3, there is T-H-E-R-E, there is a close relation. There is a close, C-L-O-S-E, close relationship between the legislature and the executive. Next point, point number 4, the Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers, this is point number 4, is responsible to the legislature. The Council of Ministers is responsible to the legislature. This is point number 4. And point number 5 is there is collective responsibility of the Council of Ministers, or you can write the same point. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the legislature. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the legislature. So point number 5, you can write both the ways. There is collective responsibility also you can write, or the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the legislature. So these are the characteristics of parliamentary form of government. Those who did not get the answer, some of you have asked me, and others also, if you have not got the answer, you can write down. Okay, all right. Now we'll come back to history. Some points I have already explained: the causes, the factors which led to the anti-British uprising. One first cause I said that introduction of cash money. Because of introduction of cash money, the farmers found it difficult to pay taxes. Then growth of money lenders, or growth of a new class of people called money lenders. Then the British, they did not pay any attention for the improvement of the condition of the land. So that all these points I have explained, so I am not going in details. Then one more point I have explained, that regarding the tea garden workers and the tea garden areas which were made tax free, and that extra burden of tax was imposed on the farmers. I think these few points I have explained. And then next point today, now all these are the factors related to the farmers. Because of these reasons, because of these factors, farmers were dissatisfied. Anti-British feeling grew in the minds of the farmers because of this causes, whatever I explained. Then next point is, not only the farmers, even the industrial workers, especially the workers of the cottage, workers and owners of the cottage industries. And we know that the silk of Assam, the Pat and Muga silk of Assam, it is world famous. And prior to the British rule, many industries grew up related to this silk, Pat and Muga. Now, as the British entered into Assam, the importance of these industries, Pat and Muga, the silk industry, began to decline. Why? Because British began to import the machine-made things, machine-made silk from England, which were very fine and cheaper in rate. And as those machine-made silk clothes were brought to Assam, then naturally, as it was cheaper, people started to buy those materials imported from England. Foreign goods, we are also very fond of buying the foreign goods, isn't it? So that time also, when the clothes were imported from England, and it was very fine because it was machine made, and in Assam silk this is handmade, hand weaving. So naturally the machine made clothes are fine in comparison to handmade. And as a not only the fine but also cheaper. It was cheaper because in machine more things could be produced than hand. So naturally it saved time also, it saved energy also, and so the rate was cheaper. And that is why people were attracted, people of Assam, they were attracted to those machine made things, machine made clothes and the cheaper clothes. So they started to buy those clothes imported from England by the British. As a result, demand for indigenous goods, the homemade goods, the silk of Assam, that is a homemade, indigenous. So demand for those Patmuga silk started to decline, and some industries were closed down because people, they were not buying their things, their commodities. So since there was no buyer, so naturally they had to close down. So it was a great loss. Those people, those who were depending on their Patmuga industries, the employees who were employed in those industries, their condition became very pathetic. They had no other source to earn. And so they also grew angry against the British, but because it happened because of the British, they began to import the goods from England, and so demand for the indigenous commodities declined. As a result, this industrial, the people associated to these industries, silk industries, part industries, muga industries, they develop a kind of resentment in their mind. They develop anti-British feelings in them, and they were trying to get an opportunity to stand against or to raise their heads against the British. Alright, understood this point? Then farmers, we have got why the farmers grew against the British. Now industrial workers, small industries, cottage industries worker, they grew against, they stood against the British. And now not only the workers but even the aristocrats, people belonging to the higher class, those who were working in the administrative department or various other departments, they also started to dislike the British, started to hate the British. They also developed anti-British feeling. But why? Now, as British rule began in Assam, now British, they wanted the people, they wanted the employees to work in all the departments, in the administrative departments, in other departments, with the modern knowledge. And they found that the people of Bengal, they have the modern knowledge, they are capable of working in their offices, in the administrative departments, in the offices under the British. And so they started to bring the people, especially from Bengal and other places also, and employed, given the job to them. And in those job or in those posts, already the people were working. Like in the post of Borfukan, in the post of Borbarua, in the post of Fukan, in the post of Rajkwa, because these are at present these are the titles, isn't it? But actually these are the names of different posts, designation. He is appointed as Borfukan, Badan Borfukan. Badan Chandra is appointed as Borfukan, so he is Badan Chandra Borfukan. So these are the different posts. And as the British found that they need the people having the modern knowledge and preferred people from Bengal, and they started to bring the people from Bengal and appointed them in those posts, Rajkwa, Fukan, then Borgohai, Buragohai, Barpatra Gohai, so different posts they were appointed. But in those posts already Assamese people of Assam, they were working. That means when the people of Bengal, they were given the post, means the Assamese became jobless. A Borfukan who was working as Borfukan in the post, his job is given to a person who was brought from Bengal, and so the person who was working in that post, he became jobless. In that way, many Assamese people became jobless, and in their post, the people from Bengal were brought and then they were appointed in those posts. And so the people, especially the aristocrats, they did not like to give their job to some outsiders. Who will like, isn't it? No one will like giving the job to others and becoming unemployed. No one will like. And so aristocratic sections of people also grew very angry. They also trying to get an opportunity how they can stand against the British. Okay. Then in 1843, slavery was abolished from Assam. Slavery, you know, system of buying and selling of slaves in the open market. Earlier, slaves were sold and bought in the open market. In 1843, the British abolished the system of slavery in Assam. So in 1843, it was abolished in Assam when British started to rule. Actually, it is good. It was abolished, so it is a good thing. But people, especially the aristocrats, those were in the higher categories, and the aristocrats and the Brahmins, they did not like this abolition of slavery. Why? They used to keep the slave to work for them. Many of us were keeping workers at home. Some maid were keeping, and they work for us, isn't it? Maybe your home also, some boys, some girls, some ladies are there who is working at home, and we are paying them, like they are called maid. Now, the Brahmins and the aristocrats, they did not like the abolition of slavery, because when slavery was abolished, then no one was able to keep slaves at home. That means all the works they themselves had to perform. No one is there to help her, no helper is there, no maid is there. That means all the works had to be done by themselves. Aristocrats, they are the higher sections of the society, they are rich people, and no worker at home. They are not allowed to keep slaves, that means workers, and no worker means those rich people the higher class people also had to work by themselves. The Brahmins, that means the pujaris, they also had to work by themselves because no slave, no workers found in the slave market. It was abolished. The system was totally abolished, removed. Now, when they had to work, aristocrats or the Brahmins, rich people, they had to work by themselves. Maybe if in the paddy field also they had to go, in the kitchen also they had to go, washing, cleaning, everything they had to do by themselves. Then it hurt their ego. They felt that their position has gone down. They have come down to a position of a slave. They themselves have become a slave. So it hurt their prestige. They were not ready to do the work, but when no workers, that means they had to do the work, and so they thought that our position, our prestige has gone down, we have become a slave. And so they got very angry. They were very angry because their position has gone down. And that also in future, in later period, became a cause of the anti-British uprising. They were burning inside. How they can take the revenge, how they can stand against the British because of the abolition of slavery. Alright? Then another cause of the anti-British uprising was the Lakhiraj land. Now, during the Ahom period, the land which was given to the temple, given to the suppose Namghar, given for the any charitable work, or given to Brahmin, where the Brahmins and the Pujaris are staying, there paddy field, land given to the Satras, where the Satyadhikars are working. So all this name for the religious purposes, name for the land for the charitable purposes, these were made tax free. No assessment was done. No assessment means no measuring and all, how much land the Satra should get and how much land this particular Satra has taken. All this measurement was not allowed. That is called assessment. No assessment was done for the land given to the Brahmins, given to the Satras, given to the head of the Satras, given for the charitable work. No assessment was done. And such kind of land was called Lakhiraj land. Lakhiraj. Lakhiraj land means it is tax-free land. Because it is for the religious purposes, for the charitable work, given to the Brahmins, given to the Satras, so given to the Namghar, so no measurement was done, and it is called, that such land was called Lakhiraj land. But when the British entered into Assam, they started to take the measurement of the land given to the Namghar, given to the Satras, given to the Brahmins. So whole Lakhiraj land, the assessment was done. And it was, when the assessment was done for the Lakhiraj land, for the first time that British did so, so it was a great insult, especially for the Brahmins and for the head of the Satras, for the head of the Namghars, because it is for the religious purposes and it should not be touched. But the British they started to measure the land, and if they found any extra land, it was taken. Suppose this Satra 5 bigha should get, and if there are maybe 6 bighas and 1 bigha was taken. So that way the assessment was done and extra lands were taken away from them. From the Namgar, from the Sata, whoever holding the extra land, it was taken. So it was a great insult for the Brahmin. And all these factors in later period gave rise to the anti-British uprising, the peasant movement of Assam. Alright, so these are the causes, these are the factors for the anti-British uprising. Alright, okay, today we'll stop. But see that you go through it, okay? Go through the causes, and whoever are supposed to write the parliamentary form of government, the characteristics, see that you write on time. Whenever copies will be asked, see that you are able to give the copies. Okay.